Q now. And Breaking Q now is the absolute up-to-the-minute headlines for America, the world, and of course the LGBTQ plus community. Our first is about Iran and the USA and President Trump. Lots in the news. The funeral procession has taken place in Tehran, and let us show you a little bit about what is currently happening on this story of Iran and President Trump. Watch this.
The funeral of Iran's most powerful general began tellingly not in his home country, but with an honor guard by Iraqi paramilitaries on the streets of Baghdad. Death to America, death to Israel, they chanted in their tens of thousands, mourning an Iraqi militia leader killed in the same airstrike. As dozens of American oil workers began leaving Iraq, its Prime Minister Adil Abdul-Mahdi, in the flat cap here, made a point of walking among the crowd. If the Iraqi parliament votes to expel American troops, then Donald Trump may have sharply reduced US influence here and dealt a blow to the battle against ISIS. And so the question remains, was this drone strike early yesterday, without consulting Congress or key allies, worth the consequences?
Well, as the LGBTQ America audience knows, President Trump's home base is only about 30 miles from where we're broadcasting, which we're going to tell you all about, very special news in a few moments. President Trump flew back in Air Force One yesterday from South Florida to Washington and had many, many things to say about what was going on the Iran story. Most specifically, the Iraqi parliament has moved in resolution to expel the United States military forces out of Iraq. And President Trump responded very specifically yesterday and today in many, many tweets, something in the neighborhood of 14 tweets already in the last 24 hours about it. And many things are happening related to Iraq. And the assassination of the general from Iran. Big news. How do you think this affects us in terms of what you think is going on?
Well, the gay community is very aware of what a martyr can be. We have had them in our community for a long time. And I am concerned about what this might mean for the motivation and the move forward of the people that are now incentivized by this action.
Do you think, Aaron, that the gay community is following this story the way the rest of the world is, or do we follow it the exact same way?
Well, I surely hope that they are, because gay or not, we all can be drafted. And what's going on in Iraq right now is very concerning, especially if we see a complete and total withdrawal of the United States military and the troops that have been there or that could be there in the future. So I'm very concerned that should that happen, and it looks like that is going to happen per what we saw with the Iraqi parliament, what X, Y, and Z is going to come down the pipeline.
Yeah. President Trump had an impromptu press conference aboard Air Force One and flying back from South Florida in the last 15 hours, and basically said that Iraq would become an unfriendly nation to America if they tried to expel American military presence, and they would owe the United States billions of dollars for the investment that the United States has made in Iraq. Do you think that we could not only have Iran as an enemy, but we could also have much of the Middle East as an enemy from these actions of what we're watching?
That is definitely the fear. The series of alliances that could be built up around this action, and by our act of aggression, could cause a long series of consequences for us and for our allies as well. And I think that that's part of what the big fear is with taking this enormous step in his actions that he's called.
Well, we are in a situation of Iran, of course, is our lead Breaking Q now on this historic first broadcast of Q News tonight.